You get the job, the one you actually wanted, and something inside you, quietly, almost politely, begins looking for the exit. You allow yourself to feel good for maybe 48 hours. You text people. You smile at your phone. Then, around day 3, you pick a fight that doesn't hold up under scrutiny, or stop replying to emails that could move things forward, or wake up on Wednesday feeling a low-grade shame that has nothing to do with alcohol and everything to do with the fact that something was working, and you didn't know what to do with your hands. You tell yourself you're tired, being realistic, protecting yourself from getting your hopes too high. But there's a part of you, the part watching from inside, that knows. You didn't stop because you were tired. You stopped because it was working. This doesn't make sense from the outside, and it barely makes sense from the inside either. It's been called fear of success, self-sabotage, not wanting it badly enough, all clean labels for something that doesn't feel clean at all. What it actually feels like is a fire alarm going off in a building that's not on fire. Your nervous system is certain that something is wrong. Everything around you says otherwise. And you can't explain it to anyone, because how do you tell someone that the problem is that things are going well? Before we discuss why it happens, I want you to notice where you feel it, not what you think about it. Where in your body does it exist? Because this isn't a mindset problem, and the proof is in the physiology. Your nervous system is built to regulate, not to feel good, but to maintain a stable range of emotional intensity it has learned to recognize as safe. You know this on the downside. When things get bad enough, you do things to pull yourself back up. But the same mechanism runs on the upside. When something exceeds the range your nervous system was calibrated to, when the feeling gets too loud, too unfamiliar, too much, it pulls the emergency brake. Not because success is dangerous, because the intensity is one your body doesn't recognize, and the body perceives it as an unrecognized threat. The calibration isn't yours. It was set in childhood, by what felt normal then. The emotional temperature of your family, the dynamics that repeated until they became the baseline. You didn't choose it. You didn't consent to it. But you run it every day, almost outside your awareness, like a thermostat someone else set before you moved in. Think of it as a rubber band, stretched between who you were and who you're becoming. It stretches with you, toward the good relationship, the creative project gaining traction, the job that's actually working. But there's a maximum length it was built for, set long before you had any say. When you reach that length, it doesn't snap. It pulls back, gently, convincingly, with reasons that sound almost sensible. And you find yourself, again, back where you started, trying to understand what happened. Here's what I want to offer before we go further, because it changes everything that comes next. Every pullback you've ever done, every project you abandoned, every relationship you quietly dismantled, every good thing you talked yourself out of just as it was becoming real, was intelligent. It was built deliberately, at a time when it was the right thing to do, in an environment that made it the correct response. The rubber band was set to the right length for the world you were living in then. The problem isn't that you built it. The problem is that you're running the same software in a completely different situation, and the software doesn't know things have changed because nobody told it. So, before you call it self-destruction one more time, it isn't a flaw, it's loyalty. Loyalty to a version of yourself that needed these moves to survive, in a world that no longer exists. And loyalty, even misplaced loyalty, deserves a little more respect than a diagnosis. That said, the patterns are specific, and the one that belongs to you probably isn't the one you'd choose from a list. You're 3 weeks into the best creative period of your life. The work is actually good, you know it's good, and you have that rare, quiet certainty about it, and people are responding. A publication reaches out. A collaborator you respect sends a note. Your inbox is doing things your inbox was never supposed to do. And then, one afternoon, for no clear reason, you spend 45 minutes looking at other people's work and decide, with terrifying efficiency, that yours isn't as good as you thought. Not dramatically, calmly, almost clinically. You close the tab. You don't send the next thing. You tell yourself you need more time. But you don't need more time. What happened is that the work was getting too big, and you found the scalpel. The wound beneath this one. Somewhere, in a classroom, in a family, in a dynamic that repeated itself often enough to become belief. You learned that being exceptional made you visible, and visibility had costs. Not that success was punished, exactly, But someone got uncomfortable. Someone left the room when you walked in with something exceptional. Someone needed you smaller to stay themselves. And so your system built a rule. Be good, but not that good. Stay inside the lines. Now you enforce the rule yourself, because doing it yourself, with the scalpel, hurts less than waiting for someone else to. The question worth sitting with: what have you decided isn't quite good enough in the last 6 months that you actually already knew was? You're in a relationship that is, for once, not a disaster. The person is kind. They're consistent. They respond in a reasonable amount of time, and it doesn't feel like a performance. 4 months in, which is, and you know this, longer than you usually allow. And then one night, after a perfectly fine evening, you lie awake cataloging everything that could go wrong. Not anxiously, almost academically. You notice the inconsistencies. The moments when they were slightly late, slightly distracted, slightly something. You build a case. And by morning, you've half decided it's not really working, that you're not truly compatible, and that you'd be doing them a favor by raising the issue you've decided is the problem. If someone could see inside your head right now, they wouldn't see a person protecting themselves from harm. They'd see someone dismantling something good with their own hands at 2 in the morning, for reasons that won't survive daylight. The mechanism here is about suspense. If you grew up somewhere where good things ended without warning, where stability vanished, where love was conditional, and the conditions kept changing, your nervous system learned a specific lesson. The worst part of loss is not seeing it coming, so it developed a workaround. It ends things first, on your terms, before the rug gets pulled. The ending still hurts, but it's your ending, which means you chose it, which means, just barely, you're still in control. This isn't fear of love. It's the exhaustion of having loved, and lost, and not been warned, and now you warn yourself, with fabricated evidence, because a decision you made hurts less than being blindsided. The question worth sitting with: is this protection, or is it just loneliness you're administering to yourself before someone else gets the chance? This one is the hardest to see, because it looks, from the outside, exactly like caring. You get the contract, the real one, with actual stakes, and within a week, you've redesigned the entire project, sent 17 follow-up emails, proposed 3 expansions nobody asked for, and somehow made something that was working feel overwhelming for everyone involved. When it falls apart, and it does fall apart, because you turned a manageable thing into an unmanageable one, you feel something almost like relief underneath the failure, because the waiting was worse. The not knowing when was worse. At least now it's over. People have probably told you that you care too much, that you're a lot. You need to dial it back. And what they missed, what you may have missed too, is that caring too much was never a personality trait. It was a survival strategy. When you grew up in unpredictability, when love or attention or stability arrived in bursts and then vanished, you learned that when good things appear, you pour everything into them immediately. You don't know how long you'll have. You've never trusted that good things stay, not because you're cynical, but because for a long time, they didn't. So you've never learned to simply be inside a good thing without bracing for its departure. And the bracing, constant, relentless, disguised as devotion, is indistinguishable, from the inside, from love. The insight that matters. You are not too much. You are someone who learned to compress an entire relationship's worth of effort into the window you believed you had. The problem isn't the size of what you feel. It's the window you're measuring by that is from a life you no longer live. You're still pouring like the cup is about to be taken away. And the pouring, not the caring, but the urgency of it, is what tips it over. The question worth sitting with: what would it feel like to be inside something good without working to keep it? To let it just be there. Things are going genuinely and measurably well, and you start making them smaller. Someone asks how the project is going. You say it's fine, it's progressing, and trying to keep expectations low. Someone congratulates you, and you immediately credit luck, timing, and circumstances that had nothing to do with you. And there's always a kernel of truth in that. Luck is always involved, so it doesn't feel like lying. But it's not fully honest either, because the luck was never the whole story, and you know it, yet you say it anyway, consistently, which stops feeling like humility and starts seeming like policy. The policy is, if I don't claim it fully, I can't lose it completely. If I hold it at arm's length, it's still there. This wound is the quietest. Somewhere, you learn that wanting something out loud, really claiming it, being openly proud of it, made you a target. For the person who needed you smaller. For the dynamic where your good thing was reliably followed by something that made you feel your having it was the problem. And so you learn the almost success. The success is kept just out of reach, just in case claiming it makes it disappear. The cost you pay is harder to see than the other costs, because you still have the thing. You just never fully get to own it. You built a life of accomplishments you hold at a slight distance, like photographs of places you never quite visited. The question worth pondering: what would actually happen if you allowed one good thing to be fully, simply yours? Not managed. Not hedged. Just yours? Here's what none of those patterns are. They are not character flaws. They are not evidence that you're broken, that you don't want it badly enough, or that something is fundamentally wrong with you. They're old maps, accurate maps of a place you no longer live. The map isn't wrong. It's just for somewhere else. You can keep using it. Many people do. They spend years navigating a new city with a map of the one they grew up in, wondering why they keep ending up somewhere unfamiliar, somewhere smaller than they intended. Or you can notice, when the rubber band starts pulling, that it's pulling toward the past, not away from something dangerous in the present. The fire alarm is real, but the fire isn't here anymore. That the loyalty is genuine, and the thing it's protecting has been gone for years. And you're still standing guard. Oriented wrong isn't broken. It's something you can work with. The question I want to leave you with isn't about which pattern is yours, or when it started, or what to do about it. It's more specific. The last time you pulled back from something that was actually going well, not the reason you gave, but the real one, the one that was there at 2 a.m, when the story felt less convincing than during the day. What, exactly, were you protecting? And is it still in danger, or are you guarding something that stopped needing you a long time ago?